Let's talk about the top 10 quarterbacks in the 2025 NFL draft class. Everybody wants to ask, everybody wants to know who's the top quarterback? It's obviously Cam Ward. Who's next in line? That's the real one, right? Is it Shador Sanders? A lot of people have asked the question. Jackson Dart, Tyler Shook, Quinn Ewers, Jalen Milroe, who's the other one? Um, can't remember his name. Kyle McCord? Kyle McCord might just be the next quarterback in line right after, for me, Shador Sanders. We'll talk about all of it. We'll get through the entire top 10. But first, make sure you click that like button, click subscribe. I am Cody Carpentier every single day here, 7 a.m. Eastern time on YouTube and on podcast. Remember to click that like button, click subscribe. It really helps as we get closer and closer to 1,000 subs here on the Draft Rankings YouTube channel. It'd be much appreciated. As we get closer to the draft, I'd like to hit that number before the draft, because as soon as we hit that number, I'm going to start doing some live streams, and we'll start being on here a little bit more on the Draft Rankings Show YouTube channel. So I appreciate y'all. Love y'all. Let's get into the top 10. We only got 9 minutes. We got to get this thing in tight. Not too much analysis. Right to the numbers. Give us the top 10 rankings in the 2025 class with kind of an idea where they would have been in 2024. How about that? We'll add that in there. And if you got any questions, drop them in the comments below on YouTube, or if you're on podcast, jump over to YouTube, drop a comment, and let me know if you want to hear more about a particular player. We did do a solo episode on Shador, a solo episode on Jalen Milroe. I'll do one on a couple of the other guys if there is interest. All right, number 10, first and foremost, we're going to start out with Dillon Gabriel from Oregon. I'm not the biggest fan from an NFL perspective from Oregon. Dillon Gabriel, he started out at Central Florida, goes to Oklahoma. He's 5'11", 205 pounds, underwhelming size, underwhelming frame, but the guy's a winner. From UCF to Oklahoma to Oregon, he got the job done. He broke Bo Nix's career starts record in college. It feels like he's been playing for a decade. Dillon Gabriel comes in at 10. A lot of it has to do with traits, and you'll see that with the name of the couple of the names ahead of him. They have particular traits that would lead to potential success in the NFL, which is what we're trying to find at the quarterback position. It's the toughest position to project in the sport, is quarterback, because a lot of mental capacity comes into it, traits come into it, projection comes into it, landing spot comes into it. So a lot of things can happen here as we go forward. But I'm going to start out number 10 with Dillon Gabriel. Number 9 is going to be Will Howard, the quarterback from Ohio State, formerly of Kansas State. He came in at 6'4", 236 pounds, just 9-inch hands. He's 24 years old, wins that national championship in Chip Kelly's offense at Ohio State after serving the last couple of years at Kansas State. So when I look at the 2024 class versus the 2025 class, between Dillon Gabriel and Will Howard, I have Michael Pratt and Devin Leary. Michael Pratt from Tulane goes to the Packers. Devin Leary from Kentucky, who ends up with the Ravens through camp. Those guys are the ones that are between Gabriel and Howard. Then after Howard, we go Seth Hennigan from Memphis, 6'3", 215 pounds, 9-inch hands. He ran a 4.76 in his 40 at the combine. Seth Hennigan's a guy that I saw have a good Senior Bowl. He was a good quarterback, great human being, great interview, and Hennigan kind of held his own. I know he didn't pop and flash and have all the sizzle down there at the Senior Bowl, but he held his own at the Senior Bowl, did Seth Hennigan. He, for me, pops ahead of Will Howard and Dillon Gabriel. He is the only quarterback in Memphis history to win back-to-back 10-win seasons for the Tigers. Just ahead of him is mighty Joe Milton, the quarterback from Tennessee last year, alpha athlete, a lot of projection there. He ends up in New England behind Drake May. Right after that is Jordan Travis from Florida State. He ends up with the Jets in the 4th round. And then we go on to QB7 in the 2025 NFL draft. That's Jalen Milroe. Jalen Milroe, who regressed quite a bit. I was expecting a Heisman-like campaign in 2024. We didn't quite get that from the 6'1", 217-pound quarterback with good fine hands, but not overly big. We're expecting him to run rather quick here in the next couple of weeks at his pro day down at Alabama. So we'll see what happens with that. But for now, I got him at quarterback 7, and he is just a teensy tie with quarterback number 6, who is Quinn Ewers from Texas. Quinn Ewers comes in at quarterback 6 for me, 6'2", 214. He's fine, man. He's not an elevator. Here's the thing is, when he came out of high school, he was a 100 grade on a lot of the services projecting towards the NFL. He was a the next coming of potentially Patrick Mahomes. Lot on this kid's shoulders. He goes to Ohio State for a semester, transfers to Texas, is a starting quarterback at Texas for 3 years, gets the job done in a lot of ways, kind of brings Texas back to the forefront. But just a lot of injuries, a lot of worries with arm strength downfield, which he had a good combine series of throwing to his receivers and doing his throwing workout, but it just was not quite to the level of taking that step up and allowing him to jump into this top 5. So he comes in at quarterback 6, just 0.02 points on the grading scale ahead of Jalen Milroe. Just ahead of him is quarterback number 7 from the 2024 class. That's Spencer Rattler from South Carolina, who's currently a Narland Saint. Number 5 in the 2025 class, Tyler Shook, quarterback, Texas Tech. A lot of conversation around Shook in the last couple of, 4, 5, 6 weeks. Todd McShay's been a big talker of Tyler Shook from Texas Tech. Big arm, big traits, big abilities here with Tyler Shook, who has had a lot of injuries as well, just like Quinn Ewers. So he kind of he's still a little lower for me. He's 25 years old. He's an old man. He ran a 4.63 at the combine. He showed up. A lot of pizzazz, a lot of off-field energy for Tyler Shook, a leader on the field. I like what he brings to the table, but it's just still not that. It's still not. I'm not getting over my skis on Tyler Shook right now. He was a Senior Bowl participant as well. He's just a notch ahead of Spencer Rattler with a 6.3 for me on the grading scale. Just ahead of him this is a whole tier of 2025 guys. Number 4 overall, Jackson Dart from Ole Miss, 6'2", 223. He's a guy that was in that Lane Kiffin offense. We kind of looked for him at the Senior Bowl to take a step forward at the combine, take a step forward. He just kind of didn't. He just kind of was middling. The door was open for me for Jackson Dart to vault his way all the way up to QB2 and to really actually compete for that QB1 spot, and he just didn't do it. I knew how good he was in the Lane Kiffin system. I wanted to see him put some stuff on wax and on the field at the Senior Bowl and at the combine that I just didn't quite get to see. So he comes in at quarterback 4 in the 2025 NFL draft class. Quarterback number 3 is Kyle McCord from Syracuse. This guy's got a can. Man, he's 6'3", 218 pounds, 9.5-inch hands, 23 years old. Spent a couple years at Ohio State playing with all those receivers. He had Marv there last year, fed Marv 1,200 yards. He got the job done at Ohio State, but just not quite as good as they wanted to in that system. They move on from Kyle McCord, new system. Chip Kelly comes over, new quarterback. Will Howard comes over. They win the national championship, and everyone's like, yeah, man, Kyle McCord's a better professional quarterback than Will Howard. Point blank, period, take it to the bank. I watched him at the Shrine Bowl the week before the Senior Bowl. We went out to Dallas and watched him in person. Kyle McCord's a good quarterback. Again, not going to go over my skis and say he's a first-round talent or anything like this because he's not. Again, we still got 6 guys in the 2024 class that are currently ahead of him in this conversation. Kyle McCord, QB3 in 2025. QB2, Shedeur Sanders from Colorado, 6'1", 212. He's the guy. Everybody knows about Shedeur. I had a whole show on Shedeur. I think the slander's gone too far on Shedeur Sanders. Got a late first, early second-round grade on Shedeur Sanders as we head towards the 2025 NFL draft class. And so it is what it is. He's QB2. All right, 1 quarterback left in the 2025 class. Everybody knows who it is, but I told you guys I was going to compare it to the 2024 group. We talked about Joe Milton, Devin Leary, Michael Pratt, Jordan Travis, Spencer Rattler, those 5 guys. But there's 6 more dudes between Shedeur Sanders, Cam Ward, and the top, right? So we got Bo Nix, Jaden Daniels, Michael Penix, J.J. McCarthy. Cam Ward, J.J. McCarthy, for me, have the same grade, 6.75, same grade, which is a first-round quarterback. J.J. McCarthy, of course, goes to the Vikings in the early part of the first round. He didn't play this year. Projects to play this year, this in 2025, if Aaron Rodgers does not go to the Vikings. This is being pre-recorded on Friday night, so it hasn't happened, at least at this point. Cam Ward has the same grade as J.J. McCarthy. If he was in the 2024 class, he would be the 3/4th quarterback off the board. Number 2, Drake May. Number 1, Caleb Williams. So the question is, right, Cam was 3 or 4 in the 2024 class. Then after that, the next quarterback off the board would have been QB7, which is Shedeur. Then 8 would have been McCord, Dart, Shook, and then Rattler. That's how I had it. And then you have Quinn Ewers and Milroe in this class. So there's your top 10. Like I said, Dylan Gabriel at 10, Will Howard 9, Seth Hennigan from Memphis at 8, Jalen Milroe from Alabama at 7, Quinn Ewers from Texas at 6, Tyler Shook from Louisville at 5, Jackson Dart from Ole Miss at 4, Kyle McCord from Syracuse at 3, Shedeur Sanders from Colorado at 2, and Cam Ward, the top quarterback of the 2025 NFL draft class. Appreciate y'all. Love y'all. Click that like button. Click subscribe. And we'll be back tomorrow morning for more from the draft rankings.